What if tonight is one of those purple and gold nights you remember 5 years from now, the kind you can feel before you can explain? The arena is quiet, the text threads are loud, and there's that nervous, excited energy you only get when a rumor stops feeling like noise and starts feeling like a plan. Don't say the name yet. Sit with the charge for a second. Picture a 6 feet 7 inches wing with a ring, the kind of two-way grown-up who makes coaches breathe easier in May and makes opposing scorers hate their job. He doesn't need 20 shots. He needs the right team, the right role, and games that matter. Urgency check, the West isn't waiting. Teams that survive the second apron era don't win the headline, they win the middle possessions. That's where this front office has been walking with that calm, calculated step lately. Training camp is almost here, and the blueprint is the same as it's always been in Los Angeles. Amplify the stars by removing their most annoying problems. In 2025, that problem is the long, switchy wing on the other side who bludgeons you for 7 games. You don't fight that with speeches. You fight it with a human answer. Before we open the envelope, if you live for smart speculation and no fluff, hit subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report, smash the bell, and drop wing in the comments so I know you're locked in. We'll feature the sharpest takes in our next show. Think about how this staff wants to play. 5-out shape, second side triggers, empty corner pick and rolls, Spain wrinkles when the mismatch is right. On defense, they want to be a shapeshifter top lock, a movement shooter one trip. Switch the next, peel and scram when a small gets buried, then close without fouling. That all lives or dies on having a two-way wing who can toggle roles without hijacking the offense. And there's a very specific player archetype circling our airspace, right? Now one with postseason receipts and the humility to be option C for 40 minutes before becoming option A for the 2 possessions. That mattered that I know you're itching for the reveal. But give me one more beat. Imagine Game 5 on the road. Your point of attack guy gets clipped by a ghost screen. There's star snakes into space and the series is tilting. Most wings foul or concede a floater. The guy we're dancing around flips his hips, swallows the drive, then jogs to the corner and buries the swing 3 on the next possession. That isn't highlights, that's oxygen. That's what lets your coach keep good stuff in the playbook when everybody else is playing please dash don't single quotes T dash turn dash it over. Basketball. All right, midway point. Let's talk about the name that's been buzzing in lead conversations and living rent-free in your group chat. Andrew Wiggins. No, this is not done. It's speculative. But it's not baseless either. There's a reason the chatter exists. The logic is clean. If a certain team in the East decides to prioritize flexibility and shop a veteran wing with real playoff equity, the Lakers make immediate basketball sense. The money isn't tiny, the market isn't soft, and the price wouldn't be free. But the fit? You can diagram it with your eyes closed. He fits because he doesn't need volume to matter. He lives in the gaps your stars create, cutting off 45s when strong side empties, relocating from the corner after a drive and kick, and turning a late closeout into a simple catch and go. He guards 2s through 4s and survives on guards in a pinch, with enough strength to hold big wings in his chest so your bigs don't live in foul trouble. He can start actions when the floor is tilted and end actions when the clock is ugly, where a 2-dribble bump and soft finish feel like the quietest 4 points you'll need. He's won at the highest level, defended elite scores without blinking, and scored just enough to tilt quarters. That's what grown-up basketball looks like. Drop him into this whiteboard and the offense immediately breathes. Empty side pick and roll gets nasty when the tag is late because he times the back cut, catches in stride, and forces contact. In Spain actions, he's the back screener who seals a guard for a layup or foul. When the ball finds the weak side slot with 8 on the clock, he's your release valve who can either shoot in rhythm or drive decisively. On defense, you expand your menu. Switch 1 through 4 without panic, top lock a movement shooter, and live with contested 2s or peel and scram to protect mismatches. He's the duct tape that keeps the wall intact when teams start hunting. The price is the only real question. Two-way wings on real contracts cost real assets, especially in season, and this isn't a coupon market. The only version that works is assertive but sane. One real asset, not your entire chest. Salary that matches without detonating the rotation. And a clear plan for protecting depth and future draft oxygen. If the ass balloons into a mortgage with multiple premium picks and rotation surgery, you thank them for the call and hang up. Bold is necessary. Blind is expensive. Variance is the elephant in the room. The motor can drift in January, and the 3 can be streaky. That's real, and it's also why he's even remotely gettable. But the Lakers do not grade themselves in January. In 7-game series, his value spikes. He preserves your defensive ceiling without cannibalizing your offense, and then gives you 2 timely buckets while everybody else is sucking wind. That's the exact lane this roster needs fortified. This is the second apron era. You can't pretend the math doesn't exist. If you take on a bigger number, it must change playoff possessions, not vanity metrics. The posture around the building has shifted toward being more open to. Term if the return is a closing lineup wing that your staff trusts. That's not a promise. It's a stance shaped by the reality that your window is now, not theoretical. Think through the lineup jazz. In LeBron-led units, he's the cutter behind the eyes. The guy who appears behind the low man exactly when LeBron sees the lean, forcing a choice between a dunk and a foul. And when teams flatten the paint and dare you to shoot, he holds the corner credibly and turns a hard closeout into a straight-line drive. In a D-centric sets, he lifts from the corner to the slot on the swing, threatens the paint with one strong step, and keeps the helper honest so a D can see single coverage. In hybrid groups, he gives you downhill pressure and early offense, and in semi-breaks, he's the best non-star on the roster at turning almost into 2 points without wasting a timeout. The human math matters. He has already been the player who logged 40 minutes without losing defensive shape, accepted being the third mouth to feed for most of the night, and then became the first option for the 3 plays that determined the quarter. That isn't fantasy. That's film. Plug and play matters when the season gets late and the rotation gets small, and not every locker room can absorb a midseason headline with grace. This one can. And not every player can be great in small windows. He has. If this is the kind of high-wire rumor talk you want more of, hit subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report, ring the bell, and tell me in the comments what your walkaway price is. Is it 1 premium asset and matching money? 2? Or do you pass and fish for a cheaper profile? If the price gets goofy, there are alternatives, and the archetype shouldn't change. You target a bigger 3-and-D with enough strength to guard up without fouling, a low-usage finisher who cuts on time and rebounds his position, and a defensive processor who can survive in both switch and drop-help worlds. The market's thinner, but you don't panic and convert a non-wing into a wing. The playoffs are a role execution exam, not an improv class. Timing matters. You don't teach a new wing your language in 2 practices and throw him into a must-win. If you're going to do it, you want enough runway for the calls, the handoffs, and that you show I stunt chemistry to bake in. The sooner you stabilize the spot, the sooner your playbook can breathe. The sooner the playbook breathes, the sooner the offense looks like the thing you designed, instead of the thing you survived. There are risks we should acknowledge. Health and mileage always live in the file. Manage minutes, and the payoff is in May. Shooting swings will happen. That's why his off-ball cutting and screen roll craft matter, because he doesn't turn into a ghost when the 3 is cold. Opportunity cost is real. Every asset spent is one you can't use later, which is why the number has to stay in the assertive but sane pocket. If it happens, the immediate change is obvious, but it's bigger than one neat bullet point. Your wings who've been pseudo-chipping for the offense get to release on time, which opens the middle of the floor, Austin, and your second side creators. Suddenly the first pass after the drive isn't a rescue. It's a trigger. Austin catches on the slot lift with his feet set. D'Lo flows into a touch screen to flip the angle. And LeBron doesn't have to wait on a late pop because the weak side corner is already organized. Your late game menu adds safer entries corner pin down into a handoff, angle pick and roll into a short roll read, and that pesky empty corner action where the tagger has to pick his poison. Layer in Spain dash but dashed on single quotes T dash announce dash it. Guard screens the roller, wing slips to the corner, plus the ghost screen that turns into a back cut when the switch is late. With a trustworthy two-way wing, you can invert actions, have him screen for LeBron or a D, force a small to switch, then seal. The knock-on effect is huge. Fewer emergency chips means more clean releases for your shooters. More clean releases means the closeouts are longer. Longer closeouts mean straight-line drives without over-dribbling. Pace creeps up without forced tempo because you're flowing from make to organized offense. Even your sideline out-of-bounds packages get cleaner flared to the slot, slip to the rim, safety valve in the corner because you're not hiding anyone. Defensively, your floor rises, which means more nights where your offense can be a B and you still win because your opponent's A wasn't enough. The new wing lets you switch 1 to 4 when you want and stay in drop when you need, without the one matchup we're terrified of. He stunts early, recovers square, and contests with length without living in foul trouble. That keeps a D out of 2 cheap ones in the first territory and preserves his legs for closing. You can top lock a movement shooter and trust the backline, or scram your smaller guard out of a post mismatch and still close the possession with a body on a body. Defensive rebounding stabilizes because you've added another grown-up who wedges and pursues. One more two-handed rebound per quarter flips 2 or 3 possessions you were losing on. 50-50s. Transition defense improves because your wing doesn't die on screens. He rides the hip, peels, and forces pull-ups instead of layups. Add in the subtle stuff. End of quarter 2-for-1s where you can pressure without gifting a rim run. And those last 5-minute sequences where you can press up on threes knowing you have recovery and backline timing. This is how 4-point swings stack up without heroics. If it doesn't, the rumor still tells you something important about direction. The target profile says the front office understands the league's final exam. It's not get another bucket getter. It's solve the matchup that's beaten you the last 2 springs without stealing touches from the players who already bend the game. That means Plan B isn't a flashy name. It's the same blueprint at a different price. A bigger 3-and-D who guards up a spot, cuts on time, and doesn't need the ball to feel valuable. A wing who can be a back screener in Spain, a tag and recover guy on defense, and a glass cleaner on the weak side. It also means the internal plan gets real reps, more trust in the second unit to run second side actions, a tighter 9-man rotation so roles calcify, and runway for JJ to install the late clock packages that turn ISO into structure. Even without the splash, you'll see a shift fewer protect this guy schemes. More impose our shape possessions. More accountability in who plays the closing 5 based on matchups, not contracts. My personal take. I'm in if the price lives in that assertive but sane lane. One real asset and matching money for a two-way wing who raises your defensive floor and doesn't need the ball to matter is exactly how you buy playoff possessions in a CBA that punishes mistakes. I'm talking a single premium pick with sensible protections, or a pick plus a swap, not the whole cupboard. Rotation salary that keeps your depth intact. And zero appetite for adding poison pill years that handcuff the next 2 summers. If the ask inflates into multiple premium picks plus rotation surgery, I walk. Continuity and oxygen matter, especially for a team planning on playing deep into June. But if the door opens even a little and the cost is human, not historic, you take the swing, you get him in before the calendar tightens, and you let chemistry and language settle so closing time in April feels like muscle memory, not a cram session. And yes, if it takes a third team to smooth money or sweetener, fine, so long as the outgoing doesn't hollow out the bench units that protect LeBron and a D's minutes. Your move. Laker Nation. What's your line for Andrew Wiggins must do, maybe or no? Who's your plan B if the bid gets silly bigger 3-and-D, switchable stopper, or bargain cutter who rebounds his spot? Where do you cap the picks? Would you include a swap? And which contracts are your hard nose? Drop it below, then hit subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report so you don't miss our cap math breakdown. Film board on Wiggins fit, the alternative short list if the price spikes, and the contingency board for 3-team routes. The West won't wait and neither will June.